Hey guys, Crystal here. So I wanted to give you guys some tips if you were considering doing the sugar beet harvest. Tips on staying warm and just not going out of your mind. But my first tip is to layer up. It will be cold no matter what station you're at in Minnesota, North Dakota, or whatever. It's going to be very cold. What I did was I did a tank top, a t-shirt, a long sleeve, a hoodie, then a coat, and then I had my reflective vest over that. Staying warm was really important to me because I tend to get cold easily no matter what. On my pants, I did some leggings or some leg warmers, and then I did some jeans. And then on my feet, I did 2 pairs of socks, one that was thick and one that was a bit thinner, and then I did my boots. A tip for boots would be to buy used. Go to a Goodwill or go to a used clothing store or Salvation Army and get some boots that are already worn in. You do not want to go to something like this and have brand new boots in. You will have blisters out the wazoo and your feet will be killing you. So if you do want to buy brand new boots, that's totally cool. I would just suggest buying them a few months in advance and wearing them often to break them in so that they're not so stiff. For keeping my hands warm, I wore just a cheap pair of gloves, like knit gloves, and then I had some really thick mittens where they became fingerless mittens if I took off the top part. So since you have to be able to write, you're going to need your fingers, and so you can't be wearing like thick mittens all the time. So I wore 2 pair of gloves, and one of them were fingerless mittens that were mittens, if that makes sense to you. And that really helped a lot. For my head, I wore a beanie and then my helmet, and then I had my hoodie hood put over my helmet. There's a lot of dirt and mud and like chips of sugar beets that are everywhere. And the first day I learned that since I didn't wear the hood over my helmet, that a lot of stuff got down my back and it was really gross. So having that barrier between my back and so that nothing could go down into my shirt was very, very helpful. For my face, my face got cold really easily, really fast. So I ended up wearing a scarf a majority of the time, which really helped in being able to pull down really fast if I needed to talk to someone, or pull it up if my cheeks and nose were too cold. The beanie went down to like right here, and then my scarf went to like right here, and then I had my safety goggles on. And having my face basically completely covered was very helpful. And over my ears, I had the ends of my scarf tucked in so that it was just extra like chunky on the sides so that my ears wouldn't get as cold. And that helped tremendously. Another tip is to buy those little hand warmers, those instant hand warmers, and put them in your gloves. They were amazing. Also, they make the instant feet warmers that you can stick in your socks, and those were wonderful as well. I would highly recommend those. Now, towards the end of the season, we had some new people come over that were there to like take our spot, and they had been doing this for 3 years, and they brought over a little Mr. Buddy heater and had it at our station when we were outside, and it was freezing. And I cannot tell you, I kind of felt like an idiot. I was like, why did I not think of bringing a little Mr. Buddy heater? Like, this would have been so helpful in helping me to not be freezing and going home with hands and feet that I couldn't feel. So the last 2 or 3 days having that heater there at the site was just amazing. And no one said anything, and they encourage you to try to be creative and keeping warm and doing what you have to do to stay warm. So that was a very big tip. If any of you guys are going to work that, I highly suggest taking a portable propane heater that's small, like the little Mr. Buddy heater. And when I went to my truck, I would have 2 fleece blankets in my truck. And so either when I was on my lunch or just on my break trying to keep warm, both of those would be wrapped around. And I would try to be warm as fast as I could. and try to get parts of my body a little bit unfrozen. Another really good tip I can give you is to just be positive. It can be very frustrating. You know, we worked a half a day the very first day, and then we had a full 5 days off. Those 5 days we could have been using to work or make money, or, you know, that was an entire weekend that we missed within that first 5 days. And it was frustrating because, you know, all around you have other campers who are there for the exact same reason, and they're frustrated. They're like, I don't understand. The weather's perfect, and it's not about the weather being perfect or not. In your opinion, it's a matter of if the beets can handle the weather. So the beets are extremely temperamental, and they have to have a certain temperature in order to not rot. So it's all about the beets. So having a really good attitude and just staying positive and knowing no matter what, the job has to get done is going to be very helpful, and keeping morale up, because I can tell you there were a lot of people who were not happy. There were tons of people who quit. Lots of people who just walked away. It's like, I'm not dealing with this bull crap. This is hard, or whatever, you know, just a lot of things happened, and because a lot of those people quit, it caused problems within other groups, and so it was really hard. I can tell you that my station personally was short. We were bare bones working. You know, there was 3 people working on my little station, and that was it. None of us got a break because there was no one to relieve us. We had to break each other, and one person would have to work both sides, which I can tell you is very hard if you are constantly busy and there's no one else around. So it was not always easy, but having a good attitude definitely helped. You know, just constantly remind yourself this is not going to last forever. It's just for a couple weeks, and it will be over, and the money will be worth it, and you will make some good friends in the end. Hopefully you have a good group of people that have not quit and have stuck there that you can talk to, and not be so down about things. You know, those towns that you're doing the harvest in, their complete focus is the harvest. There are multiple people who temporarily quit their regular job just to work the harvest. So the harvest is a really big focus for those towns. You know, there was a time during those 3 or 4 weeks that we were in Minnesota where the truck broke down, and I had to take it in to go to a mechanic and get it looked at. And the mechanic was like, well, I'm sorry, you know, I can't even look at it until after the sugar beet harvest, because I've got 2 or 3 mechanics that are working the harvest now, so I'm really short staffed. So, and that's how it was for a lot of the places that were up there, you know, the grocery stores or just whatever. Lots of people. There were medical billing people that were there, cosmetologists that were there. I mean, of all walks of life, there were people who were working the sugar beet harvest that had temporarily quit their regular job. So just be aware of that if you have a service that needs to be done or something comes up, that your need may not get fulfilled until after the sugar beet harvest. So once again, try to have a good attitude about it. It's not last forever, is not nearly as long as Amazon, and so that's something to be very thankful for. If you plan on bringing your children, do your homework before you get there on the daycare centers that are around there. I personally did not know that there were daycare centers up in my area. There was one lady who was doing the sugar beet harvest who had family up there, and she had come from Texas, and so she already knew about it because of her family that was from that town. Well, there were other families like me who did not bring their children because they didn't know that daycare was an option in their area. Definitely keep all those tips in mind, and, you know, the better attitude that you have about working that job, then the better attitude other people around you will have. I hope that those tips help you, and I hope that if you consider doing the job that you will follow through with it and not quit like so many other people did, because that really does trickle down and just have an effect on other people. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you.